afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Allie, Coram, and Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, Wednesday, December 6th, where we saw stocks fade after a strong start in the early going. Ken, what do you have for us today?
I'm going to take a look at three stocks, Allie. Two stocks that actually had good news before the open, but did not respond. That would be Advanced Micro Devices and also Ollie's Bargain Outlet, which reported earnings. And finally, let's take a look at Trex in the building sector near the top of a base here.
Okay, we'll take a look at those three stocks, but first let's analyze the major indexes. The Nasdaq today down at 0.6% by session's close. That was the biggest loss of the day for any index, followed by the S&P 500 down 0.4%. The Dow off by 0.2%, and the Russell down 0.1% by the end of the day. So a downside reversal here, but it seems like we have established somewhat of a trading range here, Ken, and we're holding above some key levels still. So not great to see a downside reversal, but do you take today's session as something that could signal further weakness to come, or how should we interpret the action?
Well, Allie, for the month of November, the Nasdaq was up almost 11% for the month. So we may be at a point here where December might be a little digestion period for the market. That remains to be seen. You can see the volume on the Nasdaq was quite heavy yesterday, so it was a pretty tough volume comparison today. It looks like we'll probably get lighter volume on the Nasdaq, maybe higher volume on the S&P 500, but Nasdaq is just kind of bumping up against that old high here and moving sideways, holding the 14,000 level. So we'll continue to monitor distribution days here. I will say that early November saw a lot of actionable charts and a lot of buy signals when the market was really starting to move. And now we're going through screens on IBD Live, and it really is getting harder to find stocks still in position here. So a name like Ollie's and AMD that we're going to look at seemed like they were getting into position, but no luck today. So market seems to be a little heavy. The number of buy prospects out there seems to be shrinking. So not a bad idea playing a little bit of defense here and maybe trimming some of your winners.
Okay, let's also take a look at the S&P 500, which you mentioned here. So an outside day to the downside, but still holding above the low from 1130 and nicely above the 21-day line for now. Also a prior high that we've come up against, and so a little bit of resistance there. So maybe we just need a bit longer of a break, Ken, here, and maybe even more of a pullback to really get those shakeouts. If you're saying that stocks aren't really in position here, maybe they need more time to develop new setups.
I think that's what we're looking at here. I think that is a likely scenario. Again, we always talk about this market of stocks, and there's a lot of stocks out there that are showing strength and holding near highs, but a lot of these stocks have made major price moves since early November. So setup for the S&P 500 looks very similar to the Nasdaq. It's just kind of trading sideways here, biding time, deciding if it's going to break out or not. So we did have another more money flowing into bonds today. The drop in that 10-year yield has been precipitous. So that has some wondering if bond investors really are worried about maybe a sharper than expected slowdown for the economy next year. But this normally tech stocks like this drop in yields, but if they're dropping because of worries about a recession, maybe we need to rethink that a little bit. So.
Great. Okay. Well, let's also talk about the Russell 2000 because we saw a strong gain reverse to a lower close. So a 1.9% gain intraday that evaporated. This has been prone to outsized swings either which way on both the upside and the downside. So I guess the volatility, not surprising, but after that strong move above the 200-day line, Ken, to kick off the month, it seems like we want to see small caps hold above that level.
Yeah, definitely, and it was really a bullish move for IWM that you mentioned. First day of December on Friday, so not too alarming what happened today. Although it was a 1.9% intraday gain that you mentioned. completely went away. So definitely some sellers in the market today. Market may be at a point again. December might be just kind of a digestion period here for the market after such a extraordinary November. So we'll see where it goes.
Okay, and I just quickly want to take a look at the Dow before we move on. So reversing here, but it looks like still holding above 36,000. QQQ, this tracks the NASDAQ 100. We did see NASDAQ 100 stocks outperform yesterday, especially the Magnificent Seven, Fang Plus stock type names yesterday. But we did get a downside reversal here too, as well. A decline of about 0.6% in line with the NASDAQ composite. Two more ETFs, real quick, to check in on. ITB, the US home construction ETF, continuing to see stocks in this theme perform well. So here's a look at ITB outperforming here today, up 1.7%. And then energy stocks, how did they fare? Not too well. And we've kind of been seeing the energy sector on the ropes here, Ken, and seeing a further deterioration in today's session.
Yeah, I mean, when you have plunging bond yields and you've got oil prices falling like they are, listen, you have to just respect the notion that we could be headed for a slowdown next year. So, to me, it's potentially problematic. But oil prices are at their lowest level now since June, below $70 a barrel. So, falling oil prices, falling bond yields. Market's worried about a slowdown. The question is, market itself, the indexes are holding up, and the leaders are holding up. But are they going to start eventually showing cracks here?
Exactly. Yeah. We'll continue to keep an eye on those weekly charts and see how those leaders act around key levels. Let's take a look at Ollie's bargain outlet, OLLI, not closing very strongly, up just fractionally after a strong move intraday, clearing the 80 level. So initially, there was a very positive response to this discount retailer's earnings report, which showed strong growth, a slight acceleration on the top line growth at 15%, a deceleration on bottom line growth, but still up a strong 38%. However, the early enthusiasm faded, Ken.
Yeah, they opened more than 20 stores in the quarter. So this is a company still in the early stages of their expansion. They own about 500, operate about 500 stores right now. This is again just a concern because it was a really good earnings report. The outlook was good. Their margins expanded. Lots of good commentary from the CEO. But again, this is a market that looks like it might be ready to come in a little bit here. So Ollie's is just an example of a stock that wasn't able to respond to good news. It gave an early buy signal today when it jumped above its recent highs. But this is, when stocks can't respond to good news, that sometimes can be problematic for the broad market here. So good numbers from Ollie's, and a lot of good news in this report. But we got some undercurrents of selling in the market here that is, pulled shares down today.
Yeah, so a potential warning sign there. Let's also take a look at AMD. So, kind of carrying along that theme of early enthusiasm fading in response to news. AMD had an AI chip unveiling event today, right, Ken? And down over 1% on the day after an early pop.
Yeah, I mean, this stock was up almost 4% intraday and couldn't hold that gain. So sellers hit AMD pretty good here. Yeah, they announced a new AI chip to compete with NVIDIA. They said that Q4 that they're expecting to do at least 400 million in revenue just from these AI chips, and then at least 2 billion next year in 2024. So this is a new these AI chips are going to be a new growth driver for AMD. Again, an early buy signal today, but not so much by the close here. So another stock that had some good news. It was expected. I mean, these AI chips have been, we know that AMD is going to compete with NVIDIA, but not a great response by the stock today.
hmm And last but not least, let's check in on TREX real quick here. Closing off of highs. It's working on the right side of a base. This is in that building kind of theme here, Ken. So definitely one to watch. It's seen a lot of momentum price wise since its last earnings report at the end of October. Haven't seen a ton of heavy volume accompany the most recent move after that initial thrust on earnings, but as it gets closer to those prior highs, does seem like it's one to watch to see if we can get another potential proper entry to form for the stock.
Yeah, I think so. It has come up really, really strong off the bottom. It was a strong earnings report where the stock eventually started moving. And we look at the bottom line and the top line growth compared to recent quarters. I mean, this was a nice turnaround for Trex. They're known for their composite decks and railings and things like that. Really a leader in their space. On the weekly chart here, again, it's just a good base setting up. I think it's probably a little stretched right here after several up weeks in a row. But if this can kind of buy time near highs and maybe start drifting lower, you get a little cup with handle base that forms here. This is a stock that has trended in the past. So if you look at the results from that latest quarter, this could mark the start of a nice run here again for Trex. So I think it looks good. But wait for a little sideways consolidation, and that'll give your best entry.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much, Ken. And thanks everyone for tuning in. That is it for today. And we will be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live. And we hope you join us, investors.com/IBD Live, for all the details on that. We will see you there. And we'll also see you right back here tomorrow at the close.